Hey there, I am Heidi Powell, and you have made it to Heidi's Lane. I am a mom of 4 beautiful kids, a health enthusiast, and an entrepreneur who, just like everybody else, is learning to navigate the joys, the grief, the love, the messes, and everything in between on this beautiful highway we call life. Now, nothing is off the table here in my lane, so I invite you to cozy up, grab a cup of coffee, join me right here on my couch for real, raw, vulnerable conversation that hopefully helps you learn and grow through this journey with me. I am so grateful you are here. Welcome to Heidi's Lane. Okay, you guys, today we are going there with this episode. If you want better orgasms, if you want to stop peeing when you sneeze, if you want a tighter core, less low back pain, today's episode is for you. I just recorded the most incredible conversation podcast with a woman named Jana Danielson, who is a movement specialist. I'm going to actually give you her bio in just a second, but I want to talk about this product she created called the Cooch Ball. It is exactly what you think it is. And maybe you don't know what that is, but it goes exactly where you think it goes. This Cooch Ball is this thing that helps us just completely transform our pelvic floor, which she explains you guys in this episode, how connected a healthy pelvic floor is to literally every part of health in our bodies. It is so incredible. This is mind blowing. And I'm going to throw a stat that she gave in this episode, and that is 90% of pelvic floor dysfunction is not a medical issue, but rather a fitness issue. It's just your body is not fit enough. It doesn't know what to do. It hasn't been trained. Today, we are training, we are teaching, we are doing all of the things to help you have a better pelvic floor. A little bit about Jana. Jana Danielson is a leading wellness entrepreneur and movement expert dedicated to helping women build strong, pain-free, high-performing bodies for every season of life. After overcoming years of chronic pain, Jana turned her healing journey into a mission to teach women how to move smarter, breathe deeper, and train their bodies from the inside out. As the founder and CEO of Bloom Better, Jana integrates functional fitness, biomechanics, and emotional well-being to help women unlock energy, confidence, and long-term vitality. She's the innovator. She is the innovator behind Cooch Ball, the world's first pelvic floor fitness tool, and is a 2-time Amazon International best-selling author. Her work empowers women to feel strong in their bodies, clear in their mindset, and confident in their everyday movement, proving that when women invest in their wellness, they elevate every part of their lives. Get ready to talk all things pelvic floor. Ladies and gentlemen, Jana Danielson. Jana, thank you so much for being here.
Heidi, I am so excited to have this conversation. It's time that we hit the unmute button about this part of our body.
You know, it is. And I love how this little just budding friendship began just online. You know, I was actually posting something the other day. I did post something where I was saying how like online can be such a pain in the butt, right? Mm-hmm. Like there's so much heartache. It can like create the comparison game. It can be this really difficult thing. And also like the flip side of it is, number one, there's so much knowledge and education. Number two, every now and then we come across people that are just like right away, right when you connect, you're like, oh, this person's supposed to be in my life. I don't even know what it's for. And honestly, I love this. So friends who are, don't follow Jana or me, I guess you wouldn't know this anyway. But a couple years ago, you had reached out and you sent a little care package, which we're going to talk about. You know, it had to do with the Cooch. And it actually, yes, the Cooch. And it's actually called the Cooch Ball. We're going to get there, you guys. Just a little sneak peek at what we're getting at today. You sent a care package, and then, and just a little background. Anyone listening who doesn't know this, but I struggled with and still struggle with diastasis recti, which is a separation of the abdomen. For me, it was after pregnancy. Yeah. And I had like a whole abs after baby program. And part of it was I had like the dribbling. So when I sneezed or I ran or I jumped, I would have that dribbling. My little program healed it a little bit, not completely. Um, and then over time, I just recently, you reached out again. You're like, Heidi,
Yeah.
I think it's time. And what was interesting, I immediately messaged you back when I saw your message. And I said, Jana, I was literally sitting in the car the other day and without even a thought or a movement or an action, no movement in my pelvic floor, a little tiny dribble came out. And I was like, what the hell is this? Like, why is there a dribble? I feel like your message was divine intervention from God, because as I'm aging, I'm, my 40s now, I feel like everything loosens. It's just a fact. It's kind of what happens. The muscles become more lax, the skin becomes all of that, right? And with that, I immediately was like, what's happening to my body? Jana,
Yeah.
yes, I would love to have you on my podcast. I'd love to have you show us how to use the Cooch Ball, and let's just talk about it.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited. So thank you for being here. Let me just say this. That was a big intro.
Thank you for that, framing this conversation. It was, my husband and I were at the beach.
Yeah.
And I was reading my book, and then I closed my book, and then there was a post from you that popped up. And
really?
And I was
Do
like,
you remember which post it was?
No. No, you know what? Actually, I don't, because there's been a few that there's been a hook. And I was like, you know what? It took me some courage, right? Because like I said,
really?
I mean, I've watched you on, when you were on network TV. Pregnant. I don't even, was it Cash or Ruby that you were pregnant with?
Both. Cash was the first couple seasons. Ruby was the last.
And sometimes as women, we still have those voices in our head that are like, you're just a little girl from Northwest Saskatchewan. Why are you calling this, amazing woman? And I was like, no, leaving the DM. And so I do believe that, there is no such thing as coincidence. The timing is always divine. And, we all have stories, health and wellness stories, but my pelvic floor story started actually when I was 17. And it started with gut pain. I got a medication for a stomach ache. And fast forward 4 years, I'm 21 years old, finishing my business degree in university. And I'm now on 11 medications. Wow. I now 21. My joints feel, the metaphor I use is like the Tin Man from the Wizard of Oz after a heavy rain. I have excruciating headaches. And every day of my life at 21 years old, I'm peeing my pants when I laugh or cough or sneeze.
And you had not had children yet?
No. And I mean, as women, we're told you're probably going to pee your pants twice in your life, after babies and when you're in this phase, this horrible phase called menopause. The way it's like,
see, I never knew pee came back in menopause.
Okay.
No one ever told Mom. Did not tell me that.
No. So I was embarrassed. I was teaching fitness to pay for my tuition, and on the outside, I looked like this healthy woman, but on the inside, I was dying. And then to put vinegar in the wound, I went to my doctor to figure out what was the next step to heal. And her words to me were, Jana, we believe the pain is in your head and you're seeking attention. Have a nice life. And she closed my file and walked out of office.
No.
Yeah. So that was my, I was newly engaged. So this ring was on my finger, and I looked at it in the sunlight, and I thought, I love this man so much, but why am I marrying him? Giving him a wife that is like a jail sentence of health issue after health issue. How could my body possibly conceive, grow, and then deliver and raise a baby? I couldn't even get out of bed. So, and here's the thing, another one of those moments. I saw Madonna on the cover of a fitness magazine. I was in the grocery store line. I picked it up. There was an article about Pilates. I read that article probably about 10 times that night. And I went to my first Pilates class the week after. I walked in, made a very rash judgment. I looked at all the bodies in the room, and I went front center because I'm like, I'm the fittest person here.
Yeah. Wow. That's so brave. And then you're like, Pilates.
and then we're learning how to breathe. And I'm like, what the hell is not happening in my body, right? All these people are breathing. They sound like a symphony orchestra. I'm like the flute section in a grade 5 band. And I'm thinking, what is going on here? And so that really was the turning point for me, because 16 weeks after my first Pilates class, I was off all 11 medications. I was not incontinent anymore.
Wait,
And I couldn't,
just
yeah,
because of 16 weeks of Pilates.
yeah, yeah. And I was so
Wow.
curious, right? Like, what just happened? Was it learning how to breathe properly? Was it moving my spine? Was it, what happened with my nervous system? And it was all of those things that started to come. I essentially brought my body back online.
Oh my gosh. I've never been much of a Pilates person,
Yeah.
but I know that you're a Pilates
Yeah.
instructor. And
Yeah.
now this story, I'm like, maybe I should actually give it a try. I mean, we're going to give all the other things a
Yes.
try,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's so interesting.
You know what it does from my perspective is it's like if you were listening to a playlist of country music and you loved country music and you were like, I just want to try this hip hop station and
Yeah.
just see if I like this
Yeah.
one song. It's
Yeah.
kind of like that. Like it's
Yeah.
all music,
Yep.
but it's teaching the body how to respond in different ways. And then when you come together in the gym, on your bike, on your rowing machine, it's like you've just up leveled or made your whole body smarter.
Yeah, I actually think it's time for me to make some kind of a change. I did CrossFit for a decade. I've
Yeah.
been doing bodybuilding style training for a little over a decade. And rowing is a newer thing, but like it's kind of getting to the point where I'm like, it's not fun anymore. I
Yeah.
do it. It's now become a chore. It's not something that feels like my body's growing. And when you're stagnant, like when you're not growing, you're dying kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But I just want to thank you for sharing your story.
Yeah.
As you talk, it's really interesting to see how similar, how much I relate to you. That's what I'll say.
Okay.
How much I relate to the story that you're telling from the part of you having a wedding ring on your finger and thinking, why is this person with me? I'm just a life sentence of ailment after ailment. When I went through a similar thing a couple years ago, and there's still inflammation in my body. It's really interesting. Yeah. So we're still trying to get to the root of it. But it was this for a while. It was like, who would ever want to be with me? Because now I'm in my 40s. This must be something that happens in my 40s. Almost like that. Things happen as we age. We think this must just be how it is.
Absolutely.
I'm peeing my pants again. This
Yes.
must just be how it is. And so it was this like idea and this like resign to the life that I was going to be living for all these years. And then I even want to go to, I love that you shared the courage it took just a couple of months ago to send that DM.
Yeah.
Because when I read that, it's probably going to blow your mind. But when I read that in my mind, I'm like, it's like a heck yes. Like I love, it was such an easy thing. Must have been easy for her to send. I don't even think about it, right?
Yes.
However, it doesn't matter who I reach out to online or consider reaching out to online. I am almost always stopped. I'm not kidding. Because I'm like, oh, why would they?
I know.
Why would they read a message from me? I'm
We're
just
so
going to stay in
conditioned.
my lane over here. I'm just going to hang out with my kids and I'm going to talk to the people that I already know that I have relationships with. I have the hardest time reaching out to people, going out on that limb and trying new things. So you sharing what you just shared was like I have a lot to learn. Thank you. It was a huge inspiration for me to hear that.
Yeah.
I actually really did need that.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
There.
Okay. Now we're going to talk about some fun stuff. So, you obviously gave your story with Pilates.
Yeah.
From that point though, now you do a lot of work. I read the bio, people already heard it, but you do a lot of work with women and pelvic floor. What got you from the place of Pilates to pelvic floor?
Yeah. It was, so when I lived in Canada, I owned a Pilates studio and an integrated health therapies clinic. So I had a team of 60 clinicians, instructors, administrators in this beautiful 9,000 square foot facility. And I was actually here. I was in Tempe at a Pilates conference in 2013. And there was a urogynecologist speaking about his latest research. And his research showed that 90% of pelvic floor dysfunction in a woman's body is not a medical issue, it's a fitness issue.
I
right?
feel like everyone needs to hear that again
Yeah.
because you typed that to me.
Yeah.
90%,
Yeah.
I have it right here,
Yeah.
of pelvic floor dysfunction. So if you guys have pelvic floor dysfunction, which is what does
okay,
that
well,
look like?
let's talk, because I think there's some common outcomes that we would think, oh, that's my pelvic floor.
Yeah.
So I mean, incontinence, and there's different kinds of incontinence. So there's the incontinence, the stress incontinence, where you cough, sneeze, sing, and pee a little bit.
Yep.
But then there's also urge, where you don't have to pee, but you walk into the shower and all of a sudden you're peeing, right? Or you go to wash your hands and all of a sudden you're peeing, or you've got your bags of groceries and you walk up to your front door and you don't have to pee, and immediately you reach for the handle and there's something in your brain that you drop the bags and you're undoing your pants on the way.
Okay.
There is
like you're saying urge comes out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere.
Okay.
Like, wow, I gotta go
that
right now.
I don't have that.
Then there's mixed incontinence as well. So that's a common outcome. But you know what?
What's like that I'm sitting there and randomly a little bit comes out and I'm like, what?
Well, we're going to talk about that because we're going to bust so many myths in this episode. So many myths. But here's some other things that we don't realize are pelvic floor related. So constipation, chronic tight hips. So chronically tight hips, low grade back pain, cold tingly feet.
I have very tight hips.
Yeah. Yeah. And that plays into the psoas area, like the quads, all of that.
Cold feet?
Cold tingly feet.
Wait,
it's a blood flow, right? It's a blood flow issue.
I have cold feet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So here's if you look at pelvic floor health on a spectrum.
So wait, sorry, what does that mean if I have the tight hips and the cold feet? What does that mean again?
Well, there's just that is usually what we call a hypertonic or a too tight pelvic floor.
Okay.
All right. Which is going to be when we cough, sneeze, laugh, or sing, there's going to be a little bit of leaking. And let's just go into the logic of a woman's mind. Okay. You're doing your Kegels. Let's say you're doing your workouts at the gym, all the things you should be doing. Yes, exactly. Right.
Yep.
And then you cough and pee a little bit. And what we think is, sheesh, I got to do more Kegels.
That's exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm actually doing them right now as we're,
hold
on, should I stop? Should I stop doing them?
Stop.
Okay.
Because here's the reality.
Yeah.
Is most women, and I've seen research that says 60% of women, but I've got a few friends who are pelvic floor physical therapists, and they're like, no, Jana, it's like 90% of women are hypertonic. So if my hand was hypertonic and I tried to shake your hand.
Is this hypertonic?
Hypertonic. Too tight, too much tension. Okay. Those muscles.
But I feel like I'm the opposite because I've had 4 babies. I don't feel like I'm I feel like I'm hypotonic.
Yes.
You know?
Well, and I know I just came from my pelvic floor physical therapy appointment. I know that you have a curiosity about that and we can double check that. But in most people, they are hypertonic.
Meaning their pelvic floor muscles are too tight.
Too tight. Okay. So imagine that, right? Like even if you take your t-shirt and you stretch your shirt out, and then you drop like, I've never used this metaphor, so I don't know if it's actually going to work.
Okay. Let's try it.
So let's just see if you come with me on this. Okay. So if I'm pulling my shirt,
and
something drops down on my shirt. Okay.
It's tight.
But it's heavy.
Yeah.
Right. So the dam has to break.
Okay.
Right. So when we cough, sneeze, laugh, or sing, that intra-abdominal pressure is going down. It's like down. And the pelvic floor is not like a trampoline, right? If it's too tight, it's not dynamic. So it can't absorb the force of that intra-abdominal pressure, the cough, right? So that pelvic floor has been holding on for dear life to the two ends of the,
what are the insertion points?
Yeah.
Yep.
And that extra force, it's like, girl, I can't do it anymore. And that's when we leave. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what's happening.
Okay. So, and I'm going to say that stat again, 90% of pelvic floor dysfunction. So if you guys are having any of this pelvic floor dysfunction, which also includes like issues with sex, am I right?
Pain
with intercourse.
Yeah. Dryness. I mean, as we get into our 40s and 50s, right?
Okay, wait, what? This too?
Yeah.
It affects. dryness?
as our estrogen drops.
Well, I know the
right?
estrogen dropping, but like the pelvic floor actually strengthening those.
Well, and the vaginal canal, that's all going to start to shift and change. I mean, even our labia can completely, like for some women, as they go into their perimenopause and menopausal years, like for some women, our labia disappears, ladies. Not everyone, but some people. And that's common. Again, we're going to talk about common and normal, and we're going to try not use the word normal because peeing our pants is not normal.
Okay.
It's common, and that's very different than normal because our body is meant to heal. We're supposed to have babies and not pee our pants. We're supposed to, be in menopause and not have pain during sex. So these things are common.
So, and that is a big thing, is a lot of times people will say, oh, it's totally normal to pee your pants after babies. It's totally normal when we get to a certain age to become dry. It's totally normal to, but no, what you're saying is that word normal is inaccurate. It's actually totally common. That we pee our pants after babies. It's totally common that we pee again or have more incontinence issues as we get into menopause. It's totally common and super frustrating that things in the sexual region do totally shift in your 40s, and no one ever told me about it. And I've been to a couple doctors. I went to one doctor, which kind of set me, I don't know if you know this, but we're creating an entire women's line that's actually going. Yes, we need to talk because I'm hearing you. I'm like, maybe we need a program in there. But we're creating a line designed for women. Initially, menopausal, perimenopausal women, right? But a line that can grow for all the different phases of life. Because of issues I have had as I've gone from my 30s to my 40s, the late 30s, where you're, everything's on overdrive because you're about to lose your hormones. And going into my 40s, no one actually prepped me for, number one, what happens to your sex drive. Number two, not only what happens to your sex drive, but what happens to your sex organs, right? Like no one ever prepped me for and it's not just about sex. It's everything connected to it that has me not feeling like the person I've always been. And I'm like, I'm done. I actually had seen a doctor when things started shifting, and that doctor, I never gone back to that doctor. But the doctor was like, welcome to getting old. This is just how it is. That's what she said. Welcome to getting old. This is just how it is. At the time, I was also having anxiety and depression for the first time in my life. Had never dealt with it. Dave was about to pass away. I mean, it was months before Dave passed away. And I didn't know the rockiness that my life would be. And so when that doctor said that, I left the office and I reached out to as many 40 plus women who I knew that were thriving. And I was like, Whitney over at, she was Miss Olympia.
I do know
tell
Whitney.
Me. Yeah, please tell me, Whitney, like, does life get better or is it over? And I would go from woman to woman. And the common response was, it only gets better in your 40s, but you need to learn about your body. You need to learn what to do. And so just this education had me then saying, I'm going to create this women's line. And so the women's line is to help women with things like what we're talking about, so that they know when these common things happen that are not normal, they understand there's something you can do about it. So I love that you're here teaching this.
No. And so when we talk about that 90% of pelvic floor dysfunction being a fitness issue, not a medical issue, it's like a trifecta, right? The trifecta is poor breathing mechanics.
Okay, wait. So 90%, I keep getting through the stat and then I stop. 90% of pelvic floor dysfunction is not a medical issue. It is a fitness issue. And you're saying there are 3 things you can do? And, okay, go ahead.
Ready?
I'm so excited.
Poor breathing mechanics.
Okay, so it's because of poor breathing mechanics.
And we're gonna dissect all this. The second is poor posture, seated and standing.
Oh crap. Okay, wait. You'll have to analyze my
Well, and then number 3 is a lack of oxygen-rich, nutrient-rich blood flow to the muscles, the fascia, the nerves of the pelvic floor.
Okay, so can we go through each of these?
Yes, let's go through each of these.
Number 1,
poor breathing mechanics. So imagine if we were having a snack and you said, do you want an apple? I'd be like, yeah, I'd like an apple. So the apple is not sliced, it's the whole apple. This is our core. So when you eat the fruit of the apple, you have the core left. We have a core, but so many women think that when they use the term, I got to strengthen my core, most will think I'm going to do some crunches. I'm going to do some planks, right?
Yep.
Well, here's how our core is actually built. The pelvic floor is the floor of the core. Okay. The diaphragm is the roof of the core.
Oh.
So our diaphragm is that main muscle of respiration. It's like an open umbrella or a mushroom cap. It sits here. Okay. And here's the pelvic floor. The 360-degree cylinder is the 4 sets of abdominals, the rectus abs right under our skin, the 2 sets of obliques, internal, external, act as a sling system, right? And then the transverse abs start at the back, wrap the front. Then we also include, they're like, imagine, this is a very simplified explanation, but there's a group of muscles called the multifidus. Multifidi. They're like zippers that go up the sides of the spine, okay? So that in essence is our core.
Yeah.
And here's what happens. Watch a newborn baby breathe. Their belly rises and falls, right? With every breath. Watch a 15-year-old girl or a 35-year-old woman walk by you and they're like sucking in, holding everything.
My whole life I was sucking in.
Well, that's right? Yeah. So what that does, two really important things happen at that point.
Okay.
The body takes, like, if this is the best leading actress in a movie,
your diaphragm,
right? The diaphragm. We also have supporting actresses in our neck, the scalenes and sternocleidomastoids. So as soon as we stop breathing with our belly, the brain or the body's like, oh, we got to go to the supporting actresses. So they're going to send the breath work here. So now we've got these little, I call them my beef jerky muscles. These little muscles already have a job. They hold our bowling ball on our spine. And now we're saying, oh yeah, by the way, do you mind breathing for this body as well? Yeah. So those people, those women who have TMJ issues, they grind their teeth at night, they have chronic headaches, they have lots of jaw tension, neck, shoulder tension. You probably, I lovingly say this, but you're like my little goldfish because you're breathing with your neck.
Well, did you just see that?
Yeah.
So I had an adjustment yesterday because my back's always out my neck. I had an adjustment and he said, he had me sit on a table and said, take a deep breath. And I went,
yeah.
And he's like, okay, slow down. And I'm all, He's like, you know, it's weird. And he kind of did some work. He's like, I was trying to relax up here because you're using your, you're
even using your shoulder girdle to breathe. Like your body is, you've taught your body that your shoulders actually have to do this in order to breathe. Right?
Yeah.
So here's the thing about the floor and the ceiling of the core.
This can help me not pee.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Yes. Well,
it's all connected.
It is all connected, right? And so if you imagine the diaphragm is like an influencer and the pelvic floor is the follower of that influencer, is very, very influenced. So when the diaphragm stops moving, it doesn't have to, because now you're breathing with your neck. It literally is a muscle that's sitting there. The pelvic floor is looking up at that upstairs neighbor. There's no motion. The pelvic floor is really thinking, well, I guess I'm on a holiday too.
Yeah.
And then what we end up with is this dysfunctional floor and ceiling that are not talking to each other. The cylinder is not moving at all because now we're just breathing here into our collarbones. And then our sympathetic nervous system kicks in. Because when do we breathe up here? When we are in fear, when we are scared, when we are anxious.
Yeah.
And so now our cortisol starts pumping, our noradrenaline starts pumping, our oxytocin gets suppressed, which is like the queen of the hormones. And now we start to get ourselves into this cycle of holding, protecting, bearing down, and the pelvic floor just takes the brunt of all of that. So number one rule is,
it's like everything's collapsed up top and the pelvic floor is having to hold it.
Just hanging out.
So I was a cheerleader.
Yeah. Okay.
And if anyone here was a cheerleader and you stunted, then you'll know what I'm getting at here. But I was a flyer.
Okay.
And it took me a very long time to learn body awareness enough that, like, I always thought it was about how light or how heavy you were, which made it easy or hard to lift you.
Okay.
Led to an eating disorder, part of it, right? Because I thought I needed to be very light. What I learned over time, long after I was gone, like from high school, but it's about how aligned and tight and rigid you hold your body like a broomstick. pulled up. It's like that line, that core that actually makes you light. So you could take someone almost twice as heavy as me
Wow.
and they would
Okay.
feel lighter to lift. Um, right. So it's
Yeah.
almost like I'm imagining what you're saying is when I was a flyer and I was wobbly and everything was collapsing, it made that foot, that pelvic floor, the floor of me feel heavier.
Yeah.
So everything in a body that's not breathing correctly, you're saying, is collapsing to the point where the pelvic floor is actually feeling that heavy weight.
Yeah. It just, it
Okay.
doesn't have, it wants to be part of the team, but no
Yeah.
one's talking to each other. So it feels like it's this island there all on its own.
Okay.
So that's what starts happening. So the number one thing you could do today is, to breathe diaphragmatically, you place one hand on this flat bone called your sternum and one hand on your belly button. And as you inhale through your nose, you want to fill your bottom hand. It's like you're filling your waistband with the torso of your body. So you really want this to move and you want this to be as silent as possible.
It's interesting. I never do that. I can actually feel my diaphragm stretching.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding.
Yeah. Well, and that's right.
That means
and
it's tight, right?
That means the attachments under the ribs are tight.
I can feel that.
So when you do, I know you mentioned vacuums. When do you do hypopressives?
No.
Okay. Well, that will be for another episode.
Yeah.
But, so when you inhale, you want to imagine your torso like a soft bark tree, and you want to fill on 360 degrees. And then as you exhale out of your mouth, it's this narrowing around your entire torso. So sometimes I'll use belly button to spine. A lot of Pilates people will do that, but it really is the entire circumference of the torso that comes together. So now if we were going to layer this, okay, when we breathe in, our lungs fill with air. The diaphragm has to get out of the way of these lungs filling with air. So the diaphragm actually descends.
So it's not going
when
up.
Nope. So it's descending.
And that's where it's stretching.
So it's descending and it's contracting when we inhale because the lungs are filling up this space. And remember I said earlier how the pelvic floor is very influenced by the diaphragm. So whatever the direction the diaphragm is going in, the pelvic floor is also going in.
At the same time?
Mm-hmm. So when we inhale, lungs are filling, diaphragm's like, I got to get out of the way of these lungs. Diaphragm descends, pelvic floor descends. The only difference is diaphragm is descending, melting, lowering, and it's contracting. It's getting smaller because there's not as much space. The pelvic floor is descending and it's relaxing. It's expanding. So they're both going in the same direction, but they're doing two different things. Then when we exhale, the lungs empty, the diaphragm expands into that open umbrella back here. The pelvic floor follows. So it also rises. It's a small amount, but it lifts, but it's contracting. So when we're at the gym doing a deadlift, we should be exhaling on the lift because that's when the pelvic floor is on guard, supporting, the core is on, right? All those little tweaks in our back that we sometimes get are a function of
we should be exhaling up.
If you're focusing,
most people teach the exact opposite.
If you're focusing on a pelvic floor, on the pelvic floor, of supporting the pelvic floor during movement. Yeah. So that's what's happening. All right. When we are inhaling and exhaling. So it's like this, it's this synergistic relationship that's happening.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's part one. And that's only part one. All right. Part two, why 90% of pelvic floor dysfunction is a fitness issue is because our standing posture. So
wait, sorry. Can I go back to the breathing real quick?
Yeah.
I have a question. So I literally just did 5, 6, 7, 8 breaths and really focused on the diaphragm, which I don't do enough because I'm just busy. I never take the time. Rarely do I, but it's sore. Like
you can feel it, right?
Definitely feel it. But are you saying that because that's not, because obviously it works opposite. So now that I kind of gave it permission or taught it, whatever, allowed it to expand, that then the pelvic floor can expand or can contract at the same intensity on the way up?
It probably won't be the same intensity. And if you think of the pelvic floor like an elevator, like let's say we're in a hotel with 4 floors. We talked earlier about the hypertonicity in so many women. So for so many women, their elevator doesn't know how to get down to the lobby and they don't even know that, right? So their elevator might be sitting at the 2nd floor. So when we exhale, And that's when the pelvic floor is lifting. So in a woman's body, some of the cues I use is like, envision that you're picking up a grape with your vagina, or like you're zipping up your pants. It's not stopping the flow of urine as a Kegel. It's not clenching. It's not squeezing. It is the most subtle little tiny lift. You might feel like your sit bones narrow. It's a sensation you'll get, but that's what you want to happen on the exhale. Can you feel that on the exhale? Try it.
I mean, I've never in my life tried to do that on the exhale. I've never had that cue. And now I'm never gonna not have that cue.
You won't unsee it now. You won't unfeel it. And this is why for the women in your community that are like, this is blowing their mind, and they're like, what's she saying? Because I've people like, they question me. They're like, are you sure? And I'm like, like this, because it's counterintuitive,
it
right?
Makes sense.
Normally we inhale, like when we breathe in, we're sucking in. Like, but we want the opposite.
It's not this,
that's what it is. Yeah.
Which I can feel diaphragm, right? And I've allowed this to relax, and now I'm gonna.
It's grape time.
Yes.
Right?
Never have I done that.
It's subtle. And that is, and I think sometimes when we're conditioning our body and lifting weights and doing other things, right? We've been the container's been built to really feel, feel it. And actually what I want the women in my community to do is, I want effortless effort. I want there to be effort, but I want it to feel like it's nothing. Like it's natural, right?
I like that.
So that really is step one, is reconnecting with our breath. And then when we do that, so when you breathe that way, you're taking in 600% more oxygen.
Do you do this all the time?
Well, here's the thing. My movement prescription would be, do this 3 times a day, 8 to 10 breaths. Morning,
3
afternoon.
times a day, 8 to 10 breaths.
Or before you eat is a great time to do it, because what you're doing now is we're tapping into the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest. It's where the body feels safe, where our cortisol doesn't have to shoot through the roof, where we can digest food in a more natural state, instead of like, some days I'll still eat like the boys are 3 boys under 4. And I'm like, Jason will look at me like, did you even taste that? And I'm like, oh, right. So that's what we're trying to really accomplish here, is just starting with 3 times a day, 8 to 10 breaths. Are you going to breathe like this 24/7? No, but here's what's going to happen. It's going to start to become a new neural pattern in your brain. And you're going to start to just in your regular, your everyday breath work, you're not going to be sucking in so hard. You're going to be allowing your organs to have the space they need to do their job.
Yeah, I'm constantly cueing myself right now and being like, oh, just checking in, recognizing there's so much of this, right? Just
yes,
holding it together and thinking that that's a tight core.
Yeah.
So, okay, that makes, and I like the idea of 3 breaths. 8 breaths 3 times a day for someone who's just starting, because I believe in keeping things so small until you can build. What if first, if that is something they can't stick to, it's like every morning, first thing when you are in bed, you sit up and you do 10 breaths. Yes. Do that for a week, and then maybe
add your little gratitude statements, right? And you're layering. Do your prayers, whatever you have to do.
Meditation. Keep it simple.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to add this.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So number 1 is breath. The trifecta. Number 2,
posture.
Okay. Teach me.
So let's start with standing. So we've grown up in a society where we put our little Nike Airs on our babies because they're so damn cute, right? And I was guilty of that too. But as soon as there is a barrier between our body and the floor, it's like we numb it. It's like we just went for a filling and we got, numb on our feet. I did some work with an osteopath from New Zealand, Dr. Philip Beach, and he didn't refer to shoes as shoes. He called them sensory deprivation chambers.
I love that.
And let's just think about this. So the logic is, as we age, we put our more elderly people in shoes that are like hard-soled shoes, because that gives them support and stability. But it's giving them more disconnection from the earth, from the natural way that our body wants to respond. Guys, you have pelvic floors too. Can I, hello, is this on?
Knock, knock.
Like, yeah. Okay. So this isn't just a women's issue. And why I'm saying this is because, you know, I'll be at a trade show or I'll be doing at some event and I'll hear guys being like, I'm not going to go to that, you know, that session because we don't have pelvic floors. And I'm like, hello, you do.
Yeah.
Men do. And erectile dysfunction is a big part of pelvic floor health for men.
Yeah.
Even kids, like kids that are, you know, 8, 9, 10 years old that are wetting the bed, that can also be a hypertonic pelvic floor. So posture, you know, I think back to being in school or, you know, sitting up tall in church, like those kinds of, and you hold posture, it's military style, but actually what our footwear does, even a running shoe has a bit of an incline or a decline to it, right? And when that happens, it brings the body weight forward. Our feet have 26 bones and 36 joints in them.
Okay.
So any parts of our body that is small joint or small bones, lots of joints, movement, hands, spine, feet. As we wear really cute high heel shoes, our body weight gets projected forward. Our toes are no longer movers. They become stabilizers.
I have bunions.
Right? Yeah. Okay. All right. Our quads are on all the time. The psoas is on. The glutes turn off. The hamstrings turn off. The calves grab on for dear life. Yeah. That's what basically is happening. And now you talked about that structure when you were a flyer, right? Yeah. The structure has now been compromised. And because the pelvic floor is the junction between the upper and lower body and the right and left side of the body, it's kind of just hanging out in the wind, right? Because we're like ski jumpers in the Olympics. Yeah. Right? Yeah. That's what we look like. Yeah. And the pelvic floor, again, gets, well, it has no choice but to hold on for dear life because the bones, it's like the walls of the house aren't supporting the floor. So how can the floor possibly have function to it? So here's the rule. 60% of your weight in that heavy bone at the back, the heel bone called the calcaneus, 40% of your weight across, so not under the toes, but under the metatarsals. So where the toes connect into the feet. These are your metatarsals. You have 5 of them. So 60% of your weight at the back, 40% across the widest part of the foot. The toes are then free. So when you're in your gait, you're walking or running, they actually can move like they're supposed to. So we don't end up with hammer toes, plantar fasciitis, bunions, you know, all that stuff.
I can't even walk on this part of my foot. Right. So a lot of my weight is, and I see my daughter Ruby getting because they're hereditary. Yeah. And then
so
partially
there's a slice of the pie that is hereditary.
Okay, so
you know what's hereditary?
What?
Moving like our parents, standing like them, moving like them. That's hereditary. So the movement dysfunction, that
what?
You take that, and no, maybe not hereditary, but it's like, I mean, they're like little sponges. These kids of ours, they go look back at family photos. Look how you're standing, even like before you maybe had more professional photographers positioning you. Oh yeah. But go and see, even just in your phone, like, is your right foot turned out and is her right foot turned out? Like, just go look and see. Okay. That's patterning, right?
Wow. So I do see Ruby. Yeah. I mean, if she walks in while we're still here, she stands like me. Yeah, little butt is up high, and which is a very like. I sometimes I'm like, oh, yeah, those bunions and duck foot.
Yes,
I was duck footed as a kid.
Yeah, well, and a lot of us stand with too much turnout. So when the bones get turned out, 10 degrees of turnout is anatomically correct, but we are like really turned out. And what happens over time is when the bones stay in that turned out position. And we get that kind of little, you know, butt poking out backwards,
which is something I
as an athlete. But that is like that's your dance. Yes,
heels and the butt out, and you know
that's
which is probably what tightened my hips even more and made everything worse.
Absolutely.
I'm hearing you, and I'm saying every single thing you're saying about posture.
But here's the thing. It doesn't mean we can't do those amazing things in our lives. It just means when you know this, like now that you know this, and like there's going to be things that I can leave for Ruby with the Cooch Ball and the Scooch Ball that, you know, at her age now, if she were to welcome this into her reality, like the 21-year-old version of her, the 31-year-old version, the 41-year-old version, they're all going to be different because she's now got this inspired education to be able to feel.
Love that. Okay.
Like, that's the cool thing about all of this. So 60-40 is key.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
And then seated posture, obviously, I mean, we're on your couch, but when you're seated like at a desk, if you're sitting at a desk all day working, you want to, and my boys are golfers. So this is why I use the golf tee as the metaphor.
Cash has started golfing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amazing. So imagine the sit bones. So the bony bones of your pelvis, right? Those ischial tuberosities, they're like golf tees, and you want to be up on top of them. You don't want to be behind them. So if you have the schlumpy tucked under posture, that's the behind. You're the opposite way though, right. Usually, right?
So maybe a little too much.
Yeah. So the golf ball would roll off the front of the tee with a little bit too much of an arch in the back, right? So we're trying to stack this. We're trying to stack the respiratory diaphragm over top of the pelvic floor, and that's where they're going to be the most, the strongest in comparison to the other.
Do you have like a guide? Because I feel like I need to be taking notes right now.
Yes, I have it all. But those are basic things. And
we're going to tell everyone where to get it at
absolutely.
the end.
Yes. So that's the pelvic floor is 14 muscles. A lot of people don't realize. They think it's like one hammock, one sling.
Yeah.
It has 14 muscles. Some of them are type 1, those endurance muscles. Some of them are type 2 sprinter muscles. You know, the endurance muscles are for standing, walking, peeing. And then our type 2 muscles, which are the sprinters, they are for the coughing, sneezing, laughing, lifting, those kinds of things. And so these muscles have to kind of synergistically work together. And when we have proper posture and we have proper breath, that is going to start to come back online.
Trying to do it all as we're talking.
Well, it's like a whole new world that you're living in, right? Yeah. And then the third part of the triangle is blood flow.
Okay.
So we know that our body it has a muscular structure. It also has fascia. Fascia is connective tissue, like a spider web, right? Fascia also holds a lot of emotions. When you start doing fascial, if you do myofascial massage or any kind of foam rolling, that can start to bring emotions forward. But the reality is fascia and muscle should interact. Again, a very simplistic explanation. Like, if we're going down a water slide, fascia and muscle should glide on each other. Yeah. The reality is it's like sticky Velcro.
Yeah. I think some people might not understand. I was explaining this to someone the other day because I was, they were rolling my IT bands and my quads, and they're like, I'm barely pressing. I'm like, and I said, my fascia is so tight and bound up. And they're like, what's fascia? So, or like the myelin sheath, right? So you can explain it, but it's that coating around the muscle. Yeah. Right. And a lot of people don't realize they have to work that out.
No. Well, and there's layers of fascia too. There's layers, right? Yeah. And so the way I like to explain it is we have muscle fibers, and literally around every fiber, there's fascia. Then the fibers are bundled, and then the bundle is surrounded with fascia. Then bundles are bundled. So it's almost like marble cheese in a way. Like, so the interaction.
We all know the outer layer with rolling and stuff, right? How do you get to the inside?
Well, I mean, and that's just part of it, right? It's like fascia adheres to muscles, bones, organs at a force of 2,000 pounds per square inch. So it is like really tight. It's tight.
Yeah.
So, your foam rolling sometimes can give you that superficial release. Yeah. But it's almost like this work is like compounding interest. Okay. The more you do it, like when Jason and I take, in the evening when everything is done in our day and we are watching whatever, listening to a podcast, watching TV, our mats are on the floor. Really? Our Cooch and Scooch balls are on the floor. Really? And for like that hour, we are doing body work.
Really? Every night?
When we're, instead of sitting on the couch, why not? Right?
Yeah. Instead of laying in your bed.
Yes.
Which I'm not a big TV watcher or show watcher, but in a relationship, which I'm in one. Sometimes a fun little bonding thing is like, okay, when a couple times a week to get in bed and just watch a show. Yes. So we should be doing it down here. I need a new TV because that one doesn't work very well. And roll body work into it. The breath work is key for the fascia to respond. And you're going to show us what to do with the Cooch Ball, right?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see this demonstration. Yeah. So, 1 is breathing, 2 is posture, 3 is
the blood flow, the oxygen-rich, nutrient-rich blood flow.
So how do we improve this then?
Well, we need the fascia. We need the fascia to be released. And that's what the Cooch Ball does. It works on when you sit on the Cooch Ball, it works like if you're hypertonic. And that's the beautiful thing about this simple little ball.
Yeah.
Is it doesn't discern where you are right now. Because I have women saying to me, well, what if I am truly hypotonic? Do I need the Cooch Ball? And I'm like, the Cooch Ball doesn't care where you are, right? So if you are hypertonic, when you get on the ball, there's going to be something called the ouch factor. As long as your breath is your guide, that's the only rule.
So if I'm hypotonic, there won't be the ouch factor.
There still could be. That's what I mean. Like sometimes it's
I'm
like,
really excited to try
what's the
this.
chicken? What's the egg?
Yeah.
But for those that truly are hypotonic, the Cooch Ball becomes like a personal trainer because now your brain has something that you're feeling underneath you that you can start to pick the grape up.
Okay.
Right? The elevator, it's in those women, the elevator, it's hard to lift.
Okay.
In the hypotonic women, the elevator is hovering already. It's just really hard to get to the lobby. So at that point, it's going to be, are you ready to try it?
Yeah, I want to acknowledge something too that you said that I think is really important. When you spoke to men, right? Yeah. Which I probably don't have very many male listeners. It's probably my boyfriend is the only male listener out there.
But the women that are here might be like, honey.
Yeah, I love this. And what's like interesting, I love that you brought this up. Just ironically or coincidentally, I will say the other day, like 5 days ago, my boyfriend literally came into my house and said, I've been doing these things because I saw this really amazing article and I was diving in. He was talking about, he's like, do you know men have to like work on their pelvic floor the same way women do? So he was telling me, he's like, it's almost like these male Kegels that I'm doing. Yeah. And I was so proud. I'm like, what? Amazing. I know I have a really great guy. Yeah. But he was saying, he's like, I actually feel the difference in all the different things that they say it's supposed to improve. He'd been doing it for like a week. He's like, I feel the difference in the areas. It doesn't take long. Like my husband Jason will say when he gets out of his Cooch Ball habit. So he does the Cooch Ball.
Oh, our two younger boys were college golfers.
The Cooch Ball?
Oh, well, you just lift up. The
so
scrotum.
It's like what's it called? The
perineum.
Yeah,
yeah.
Is it right there? Is that where
whatever the guys want to call it? I had some guy. I was at a conference. I was speaking at a conference. He's like, "Oh, the devil's driveway," and I'm like, "Okay, that's one I have not ever heard before."
Got it. Whatever.
That's where it is. Yeah.
So they put it right there. Does that hurt them?
Well, it's the same thing as for us.
But I don't feel like that would hurt me.
Well,
isn't that interesting?
No, I mean, they have to move the scrotum out of the way for sure.
Yeah, I'm not a guy, but I would imagine that area hurts.
And the cue for guys is, I mean, they're like, we don't pick grapes up. I'm like, I understand that. But what I've been told by male, like personal trainers and Pilates instructors is that cue guys, like they're walking into a lake and the water gets about 3/4 up their thigh.
And they're
going to know. They're going to know because there's that automatic lifting sensation.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what it is. Yeah.
But
Jason swears that he can get 20 extra yards off the tee when his pelvic floor, he's been working.
Golf, he can like hit.
Well,
is this a metaphor or is he actually?
Is he just dribbling less? Is that what
20 extra yards on the tee?
Yeah. So here's the deal. Remember we said earlier that chronically tight hips are rooted in a too tight pelvic floor.
I was trying to figure out what that could mean. Okay. He can literally hit the ball harder.
Right. Because he's got better internal hip mobility. Right. The golf is about absorbing. And again, I'm a golf mom, right? So I've watched my boys and to be able to move your body, any sport, right? Like it should be like a warm knife through butter. Like everything should just know what the next piece is and the next piece is. And when your pelvic floor is too tight or lacking tone because of where it's located, it doesn't matter, what sport you're playing. Even if you're a weekend warrior. I mean, I used to work, you talked about CrossFit. I worked in Canada with one of the women in the master's level. She was like top 5 in the world. And she would pee her pants during her double unders, right? And we worked on pelvic floor stuff before the world championships. And in 6 weeks, she went from like peeing to not. So the body, like this isn't like a do this today. So in 10 years, you feel a difference. Like this is pretty quick if you can be consistent with it.
Okay. So then my last question that I want to get into this is how old... Like, I mean, Marley's 19. How old or young should women start?
I've worked with moms with their 8 and 9-year-olds that are peeing the bed and want to go to their best friend's birthday party sleepover and are too embarrassed to go.
And that helps.
Oh, 100%. What? Like chiropractic and all that is very good. Acupuncture can work. Reflexology can work. But if those, like our kids these days, they're wound pretty tight, right? Yeah. They're holding more anxiety than I think we realize. Mm-hmm. And there was a study done of a group of women and they looked at where in the body, they were watching a scary show and they were looking to see where are these women holding tension. And you might think hands, shoulders. You might think increased heart rate. The pelvic floor was the first part of the body to respond to what they saw, and it stayed fired the longest.
No.
Yeah. Right.
Wow.
So this is like the pelvic floor doesn't discriminate between age and gender. And for my younger kids, like sometimes we'll play like duck, duck, goose. You know what I mean? Like we'll play a game, sit on the ball and then get off the ball.
What? Okay,
but
I love this.
I mean, if our young women and men could learn about this part of their body in high school, like I just think, well, that's why, I mean, I want to change the world one cooch
This
at a
is
time,
so,
right?
I want to change the world one cooch at a time. I love that. This is so great. Okay, let's pull out the Cooch Ball.
Okay.
And do I need to grab another one?
Do you want to show how to
You sent me
blow
this
it up?
amazing box. Yeah, let's do.
Yeah.
From start to finish. So you can maybe even talk us
take
through.
one of those out.
Okay, real quick. What is it? Coochball.com? Oh, okay. It's that simple, I guess.
Yeah. But you're going to have links. You're going to have links in the show notes.
I'm going to put links in the show notes, but just so they kind of.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is how it arrives. Oh,
yeah.
I hadn't even opened this yet.
Yes. So I went, you won't ever find a beautiful unboxing video on Instagram because this is what it is. I went with almost zero garbage. And then,
I love it.
You can use this for something. So it comes with a pump. And the one thing that I'm very proud of is that.
That's great because most things would show up like this.
Yes. Yeah. No, like this.
And then you would.
And then the needle of the pump is in the handle.
Oh,
so everybody, the needle of the pump is in the handle. Okay?
I love that.
And then you have a pump for, this works in volleyballs and basketballs as well.
I love
All right.
this.
So insert it.
Okay.
All the way in. And then start pumping.
Okay.
So you're going to notice my ball is about 80% full and we want it to be a little squishy.
Okay.
We want it to be, a sphere, but we don't want it to be like hard like a rock.
Like that?
Yeah, you're good. Yep. Take it out. And if you do happen to overfill it, all you have to do is take the needle off the pump, insert it into the valve, and then just squeeze out a little bit of air. That's all you have to do.
Do you want me to do that?
Well, if you want to show it.
Just, okay, let's do it. And what do I do?
Just take the pokey part. Yeah. And then you can squeeze out as much as you want. Yeah.
Like that?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, and then I can store this.
You can just clip it back in there.
That's amazing.
And you're good to go.
Oh my gosh, I love when I learn how to use things. I do. Okay.
Okay. So I love first timers. Now here are the rules.
The key. Am I hypo?
You can sit on your couch. You can sit on the floor. You can sit cross-legged, legs out in front of you. You don't have to sit one specific way.
Okay.
The only rule is your breath is your guide.
Okay. Okay.
So if your breath becomes erratic or you hold your breath, it's time to come off the ball.
Okay.
So for some women, it takes them 3 months before they're at the 3 minute because we want to work up to 3 minutes. 3 minutes is like a magic number.
Why can't I imagine this hurting me?
And it might, your couch is going to give you a little bit of, I feel like the 19-year-old versions of us would be like having a shot right now, together. And here we are in the 40 and 50-year-old version sitting on Cooch Balls. Okay. So do you feel your sit bones on either side of it?
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, I can feel it's on it, right? But I actually like a good massage. I like so I'm trying to find.
Yeah. Well, if we were on the floor, it would feel very different. We don't have to go there though.
But I might have to try that.
Well, and
can I try that?
Go ahead.
You
I'll stay here. I'll stay here and you go try it.
Because I mean, I feel it.
Yeah. But I want you to feel it.
Okay. You're like, don't. It's harder than you think it is. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so here I am.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely feel it.
Yeah.
I think I might be hypo.
Yeah. Okay. There. Okay. So stay there. So now let's start to feel the breath work. All right. So we did this earlier. On the inhale, it's like your lobby is going down or your elevator is going down to the lobby. And on the exhale, imagine that elevator rising up, picking up a grape, being mindful that the glutes are working, but they're not clenching. And on the inhale, the melting sensation downward, almost like you're going to start the flow of urine, like you're going to start to pee. And then on the exhale, it's the lift.
I mean, I definitely feel gripping the ball.
Yeah. On the exhale or just in general?
Exhale.
Good.
Right?
Yeah.
That's when
That's when we're lifting, picking up the grape. And you want to pick up the grape because if you don't, eventually it becomes a raisin. And you don't, you don't want that. You don't want that. Right now. Yeah. Okay. So can you stay like for like 30 more seconds?
I could stay for 30 minutes. That's
okay.
how I know.
Okay. Okay. So here's the thing. Okay. And here's where a lot of women, I want to say this. So using this ball is like an invitation to a new relationship with your body. So for some women, they are so disconnected from what's going on in that part of their body that they can't even feel what they feel until they feel it. Okay. So for some women, when you get off the ball, we'll see what you're feeling. And I don't want to lead the witness yet, but for some, it takes a while, and the ouch factor will actually increase for a bit. After, there'll be nothing for a while, and then all of a sudden you're like, "What's happening?"
Well, now nothing, like for a while, for a minute.
Yeah, like some women are like, "What? Like what's? I don't feel anything, right?" And sometimes they're just so guarded, so locked down that it takes a while for those fascial restrictions to start to realize that there's a ball between my legs right now.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I wonder if that's how I am. So ideally, how long would I sit?
So you would the practice is 3 minutes. Okay, if you've got longer than 3 minutes. Then I say to women, then I have like little protocols for like gut health. We do the ascending, transverse, and descending colon. We use this along the hips for like cellulite is fascia that is puckered to the outermost layer of our skin, right? So this works nicely on cellulite. You can use it to open up. The other thing that I want to mention while you're still on here, okay? So we've been talking this whole episode basically about the physicality of the pelvic floor. There are 14 muscles, there's fascia. We've been talking about that, but there's also we would be missing a big important piece if we didn't talk about the emotionality that lives in this beautiful cauldron. Yeah. So we hold so much anxiety, trauma, stress, and we don't talk about it or think about it. And here's when I knew, like, the incontinence product industry is going to top $20 billion by the end of next year, right? Okay. And I always say this, like, if your roof was leaking, you wouldn't lay down towels and be like, it's fixed, right? So incontinence products are necessary for some women in situations, but they're not a solution. Okay. So
what type of incontinence products are you talking about?
Well, just if someone was using pads or like period panties or things like that, right? Yeah. Now, the main nerve that runs from our brain into the pelvic floor and genitals in a man's body and a woman's body is called the pudendal nerve. Okay. All right. That nerve is a motor nerve, so it's an information highway. It's also a sensory nerve, so everything from pleasure through to pain. If we were to Google, what is the Latin root of the word pudendal? What would come up is an area of shame.
Really?
Imagine, like, this is what I think about sometimes. Yeah. Who named it, first of all, and why? Because if you look at Dr. David R. Hawkins, he wrote the book Power versus Force. It's a very powerful book. Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
No, that's okay.
Let me talk into this.
Shame is the lowest frequency emotion on our planet.
Ooh, yeah.
And the nerve that brings sensation to the area of our body where life is conceived is an area of shame.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I think to be totally honest, I don't think I realized how many women and men had shame associated with it. Don't know why. It is not something I've ever dealt with.
Yeah.
But I wonder if there's a connection between the tightness of that muscle and the level of shame that person feels.
I would say 100%. I would say 100% because it's subconscious, it's unconscious. Like, the body keeps score, right? There's a whole book, The Body Keeps Score. And so then the emotionality turns into like our energy, like in here, the energy center, like the sacral chakra, right?
Yeah.
It's all about sensuality and creativity.
Yeah.
And so in those moments, like as entrepreneurs, sometimes, I feel like I'm just stuck sometimes, like nothing creative.
Yes.
Like I'm like,
yes, like what's going on?
Right?
Yeah.
And oftentimes I'll be like, okay, is this my body asking me to give that sacral chakra a bit more energy or a bit more attention? So, I'll get on my
Oh,
Cooch Ball, or like my friend Amy owns an amazing company with like toys and lubes and things. And I'll be
really?
like, I need an
I
Obu
need to
break.
have her
So
on
I
here.
need an Obu break. So I go
Wait, what's
upstairs.
is that the name of
Well,
the?
Obu is the name of her company.
Oh,
And so
okay.
she calls it when you go and you get like her toys.
It's an
It's an
Obu.
Obu
Okay.
break. So I think we all need a Cooch break and an Obu
Yes.
break every day as a recess for women.
Yeah.
Like we used to have recess in school.
Yeah.
When is our recess as moms?
Well, okay, it's really funny. We talk, but I've never talked about this on my podcast or anything. I'm not ashamed of it at all. It's
Yeah.
something I would tell anyone. I literally every day at like 2 p.m. in my mind, I'm like, this is my time.
Yeah.
There's something that like it for me resets. If I'm super stressed, a lot of people shy away
Yeah.
from pleasure or sex.
Yes.
For me, I'm like, I know that will give me a reset that
Yes.
opens me up and frees me and has me feeling. My boyfriend laughs about it. Like when he's like, it's 2:00. It is. It's usually like, you're right. I'll call you back, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I want to meet your friend
Yes.
too.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's come off the ball.
Okay, and see how I feel. Should I move slowly?
Well, you can, move slowly, but then just give yourself a few seconds just to let your nervous system feel. I actually want you to stay on the ground.
Oh,
like come off the ball, but sit flat on the ground and notice what you feel beneath you.
Okay. Let's get this here. I mean, I feel blood flow. Like I feel, it's like, it just feels like there's blood flow. Like,
Is it tingly or warm?
Yes. It's cold actually.
Okay.
Which is funny because when most people like I see hot, people feel hot. I feel cold with that.
Interesting.
Yeah. This feels cold.
What about, does it feel like you're sitting into your floor?
It feels like
bit?
my sit bones are kind of going together.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I almost feel like I need to separate the sit bones.
Yeah. Well, and everyone's going to feel something. Sometimes women are like, oh my God, I have now the Grand Canyon between my legs.
Yeah.
Right.
It kind of felt like it went.
Yeah. But it's always this sense of like calm.
Yeah.
After the potential storm.
Yeah.
You did great. You did great. Okay. So this is your baseline, right?
Yeah.
So now it's all about compliance at this point. It's finding that 3 minutes.
Okay.
We have 1,440 minutes in a 24-hour period.
Okay.
If you woke up every morning and there were 1,440 $1 bills on your table and you got to decide how you were spending them. So you would take your, how many hours of, sleep, I got to eat, 3 of those dollar bills deserve to be spent on this part of your body.
Only 3 minutes a day.
Mm-hmm.
So 3 minutes a day for this, because in my mind, I have to build a routine. I have to build something simple. So I'm thinking, should I get back up here?
Yeah, you can.
Oh, let me get up and say this. Okay. So there we go. Like for me, I'm trying to think of how can I make it? Because if I overcommit, and a lot of people will overcommit, and then it makes it something that they can't actually stick to. So I'm thinking, if I wake up in the morning for starters, and we're to do 10 breaths in the morning with my gratitude. I love that because I need to get back to my gratitude practice. And then at night, watching a show, great, do it. Spend 3 of the minutes watching a show or playing cards with my kids because we play cards at night on this ball. Yeah. And then it'll give me a chance to educate them too because they're all going to be like, what is that?
Hey, Ruby,
Try
it's
it.
your turn.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Oh, my kids will totally get into this.
Yeah. And then, when I'm sitting in a Zoom call, like sometimes I'll just tuck it under my hamstring or put it behind my back to remind myself to. Yeah. Like, and it's one of those things where it's why I'm so proud of this. This is like my 4th and 5th baby because there is like the Cooch Ball, the little sister.
Do I do that under there?
No, gosh, don't put. No, don't sit on this. Don't put anything inside your body that comes from me. That's not what my brand is about. So what I started learning very quickly after the Cooch Ball was born in 2020 the Cooch Ball was born in 2020 was there was so much research showing the connectivity between feet tension and pelvic floor and jaw tension and pelvic floor. Oh. So the Cooch Ball came along and it's not a lacrosse ball and it's not a tennis ball. This one was like the little mad scientist trying to find the right sensation for the nervous system. So there's a whole sequence you do for your jaw. There's a whole sequence you do for your feet. There's a whole sequence you do for the piriformis sciatica. Yeah. We use this. There's a whole breast health sequence.
With this or that? Okay.
This is, so cooch and boobs.
Okay. Like the female parts?
Yeah. The females are the Cooch Ball.
Okay.
This is going to be your glutes, back of the knee for lymph drainage. Yeah. This is amazing. the backs of your shoulder blades laying down at night. Like that's crazy. Again, any tension in through the face, you're going to use the smaller ball.
This actually feels really good.
It does. It really does, right?
Yep.
So it's
okay.
This is what the body craves. Well, the body wants to be well. The body wants to be energetic, all of that, right?
Yeah.
And when we have tools, so you're 3 minutes a day, there's if you're like, oh, I have 12 minutes. Well, just literally put it anywhere.
This is amazing. I'm actually so excited. It's funny because I remember being like, how do you do this? What's it? Because I am a person who doesn't take the time to figure out how to do it the right way. So this is such a gift that you reached out to me and that you're here today and educating so many people on what is possible with this.
Thank you.
So how soon, if I were to start this today, when might I start feeling or noticing a difference, and what would those differences or changes be?
So the Cooch Ball, I mean, I'm your like Cooch coach, right? So there's a whole guided video series, how to blow up your ball, breathe on your ball, sit on your ball, all of that. But I have women, reach back up to me, and within 7 days, like I had one woman reach out to me a few weeks ago and she said, I had such excruciating back pain. How can this, after 3 days of this, how can my back pain, like I haven't had to take any, she was taking over the counter medication. So for some women, it is almost immediate, right? But here's what I say. Here's the container I like to build, is that 30 consecutive days of the Cooch Ball will start to completely rewire your brain, your body, your blood flow for health and wellness. And the one thing that we didn't touch on, which I quickly want to touch on, is that UTIs can sometimes, symptoms of UTIs, the burning, the leaking, sometimes is a too tight pelvic floor, so sometimes a too tight pelvic floor can mimic a UTI, or chronic UTIs are caused by a too tight pelvic floor because fully emptying the bladder is a challenge, and that can play into the recurring infection. So I just did some content on my social media and I focused on that because I don't know if it's UTI season or what's going on, but I've just been getting so much.
I went through a season where it was like for a year and a half. It was
Really?
just back to back to back.
Yeah.
I mean, there's other things connected to that. But then also as you're talking, I'm like, okay, so dryness, I could actually see how vaginal dryness could be connected to a lack of oxygen and blood flow down there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I had a naturopathic doctor from New York and she got the Cooch Ball. She was set to go and get surgery. She had a vaginal cyst and she went for her pre-op. She'd been using the Cooch Ball for 6 to 8 weeks. She went for her pre-op and her doctor was like, where is it? And the body completely healed and absorbed the cyst. Like blood flow it's everything. It's everything. I mean, a lot of,
it's a hyperbaric chamber.
Yes.
I know.
Yes, all of it.
Yeah, I have one that I need to reset up. And as you're talking, I'm like, I need more oxygen to the blood because it helps big time. Okay, I love this so much. They can get this. We're going to put the link, you guys, in the show notes. And then, but just for reference, it's Coochball, COOCHBALL.com. And then where can they find you?
So on all the socials, I'm as me, Jana with one N .Danielson.
JANA, Danielson, like Karate Kid.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier. Yeah, and I love answering DMs. I might leave a quick little voice note, but starting the conversation, we can't shift the narrative if we don't start the conversation.
Yeah, I love this. I'm so happy you reached out to me and all this happened. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you, Heidi.
Is there one final thing before we go you want to leave our listeners with?
Yeah, there is. So I feel like as women, we can very easily, and you probably hear this too. Oh, I fell off the wagon. I'm on the wagon. I'm off the wagon. I want to remind you there's no wagon. And here's what I want to say. If momentum was a mathematical equation, if the answer was momentum, achieving that outcome starts with one moment. and then adding another moment. And that moment might be grabbing your water bottle or getting your feet on the grass and your eyes turned to the sun. Like these are, I crave for us as a gender, as I mean, women are, we are the glue that holds our families, our
Everything.
communities, our society. And when we can be in the divineness of who we are, you know, how we're supposed to be on this planet. And it starts with a moment. So on those days where it feels like you are running and just behind everything and there's too much, a moment can really shift that.
Oh, I feel like you're talking to me. Like I needed that. That was so good. I'm crying now. I truly needed to hear you say that. So thank you. And I hope someone listening needed to hear what you just said just as much as I did. And I also hope you guys got something incredible from this episode. Jana, thank you so
You are welcome.
much. Thank you. Oh. All right, guys. Thank you. Bye.